Am I the a-hole for evicting my brother and his family from the house I have inherited so my daughter can live there? I, 40 female, have a daughter, Caroline, 17 female. My brother, Adam, 34 male, is married and has 2 kids under the age of 5. Back when I was in my 20s, our great-grandmother ended up with an illness which required someone to take care of her. This ended up being me as everyone else was busy with their lives, and I have only recently graduated from uni back then. Due to this, when she passed away, I have inherited the house she lived in, which is a small 2-bedroom. I have lived there until I got married, and me and my husband ended up moving to a bigger property. About a year later, my brother asked if I'm willing to rent it out to him, which I agreed to do, but have warned him I will need it back when Caroline turns 18. She was 3 at the time. Since it's very close to universities and city center, legal agreement was drafted for the rent significantly below market value, so everything was followed by the book. About a year ago, I have informed my brother about needing the house back as my daughter is going to be 18 and I would like to have some repairs done before she moves in. My brother ignored me, so I have issued him notice to vacate, which was also ignored. As he continued to ignore me, I had no choice but to apply for a court order to evict them, with hearing taking place last month. Last week, him and his family were officially evicted. Upon getting into the house, I have noticed it was in horrible condition. I think she means was in horrible condition, and it would take a few months just to make it somewhat habitable, let alone do redecorating or repairs. I have raised this with my brother since he was meant to look after the house and let me know of any repairs. But this talk ended up in an argument where I was called an a-hole for evicting him and his family so my spoiled daughter can live by herself and not giving them enough notice. They had just over a year to find something suitable. He also said I have inherited the house by cheating. My parents are on his side since Adam and his family live with them. There's really nothing worse than when people are not a person of their words. Like, ew, what's with the entitlement attitude? If your sibling lets you live in their house for lesser money than you would rent for another house, what? She was 3, she's 17 now, about to be 18. How many years was that? Like, what's with the entitlement? Sometimes relatives can be very, very disrespectful and annoying. Like, what do you mean she cheated? At the end of the day, if you take care of one of your relatives, whether it be from your dad's side or your mom's side, and you took care of them in their elderly years and they gave you something to reward you for their help, for your help, how is that cheating? I don't get it. Like, people are just nasty. Top comment, not the a-hole. He's lived there for roughly 14-15 years, paying substantially below market rent prices, which should have allowed him to save a considerable sum to put towards a home of his own. He clearly chose not to, as he had to move in with your parents. His life choices are not your problem. Regarding the state of the home, did you not visit him over the years and notice that? That's what I was thinking, like, all those years she never visited her brother. How would she not know how the house literally was this much of a hot mess? Or is there revenge damage caused shortly before they moved? Then OP replied and said, a bit of both really, as well as clever placed furniture, so it wasn't noticeable up until now. Am I the a-hole for refusing to visit my mother-in-law after she fat-shamed me for following the birth of my baby? I, 26 female, and my husband, 26 male, just welcomed our first baby a few months ago. Him and I are overjoyed, and I am so in love with our tiny bundle. My family has been super supportive, bringing us dinners and making sure we have time for napping while we adjusted to parent life. My husband's family is different from mine in a lot of ways. They didn't want to visit us and only wanted us to come to them. They live about 20 minutes away and didn't really care to offer much for support following the birth. We were fine with it and brought our baby over when we were able to, around 3 times a month. After the first month, my mother-in-law began commenting about how much she prioritized. You guys, like I said a couple times ago, English is my second language, so sometimes certain words, even if I do practice learning how to say it, I just can't say it. prioritize, well, actually I could, but you know what I mean, prioritize losing the baby weight after she had her first baby. At first, I didn't think any of it. I thought she was just voicing her experience, as many people do when they're around babies. She then started commenting on my baby's chubby cheeks and how similar they are to mine. I felt a bit hurt but let it slide once again. The final straw was when my husband was talking to her casually about my wanting to start going on runs again and how we were planning on making it work since our baby is very attached to me. She very loudly said, "You're thinking about trying to run? Shouldn't you start with walking?" His whole family was in the room and looked at me, waiting for my answer. I am an avid runner who only stopped due to my pregnancy, and her comment really hurt. When I was a teenager, I had really bad eating disorder, one that I am still struggling with. Comments on my body or physical abilities are hurtful to hear, and she is someone who I knew talked about people's bodies behind their backs, but I didn't think she would be so mean to my face. I am not skinny by any means, but live a healthy and active lifestyle, so weight should not be my concern. This is where I feel like the a-hole. I don't want to see her anymore. She makes me feel bad about myself, and my husband is backing me up 100%. His mom is angry because she thinks we are just keeping her grandchild away from her and believes it's unfair. The same grandchild she didn't want to come see immediately when it was born? Where do people get the audacity truly? He goes there without me, but it's difficult to take our baby because she's exclusively breastfed and refuses bottles of any kind. Am I the a-hole? Personally, I believe that if somebody makes you feel bad or if somebody says negative comments about you, whether it be your personality or especially if it's your body, then at that point you should go no contact with them. Even if they're your family members, even if you guys are friends, blase blase, like at no level in God's green earth should you reason with somebody who is like out to hurt you. Like, what is she gonna get out of making comments like, there's like women who like shame their teenage daughters for being a certain way, and they compare their teenage daughters' bodies to them when they were teenagers. When I was a teenager, I was a size 0. When I was getting married, I was so thin. Okay, Bella Hadid, like, nobody really cares. I really hate people who do that. Like, there's really no reason for you to compare your body to somebody else's body. It's really not that deep. And people who just say mean and nasty comments to people knowing damn well that will hurt them, I don't know. Anyways, I'm glad OP sounds like a woman of her decision, because that's exactly what I would do if I had a mother-in-law and she was making comments about my body. You're not gonna see me anymore. Make comments of someone if you see them, because you're definitely not gonna see me anymore.